Okay, you know the scene. It's late, maybe 11:30 at night. You're just scrolling, and then you see it. That thing you've been kind of thinking about. You feel that little jolt in your chest, that rush, click, and it's done. But then, like 5 minutes later, the regret hits you like a ton of bricks. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you are in exactly the right place.
Oof. This line, it just hits so hard because it's so incredibly true for so many of us, right? That late night purchase, maybe it's that fancy espresso machine or a 3D printer or those top-of-the-line headphones. It feels like it's gonna fix something, like it's gonna unlock a new you. And then the next morning, you just get that pit in your stomach. That's buyer's remorse.
And here is the absolute most important thing I want you to get from this. If your brain is wired with ADHD, this whole cycle is not a character flaw. It's not about a lack of willpower. Your brain is, and I mean this literally, set up to crave that place order button. It is a biological setup, and we're about to break down exactly how it all works.
So, what's the real cost of all this? Well, on average, this kind of impulse spending adds up to what you could call an ADHD tax, and it's about $2,000 every single year. I mean, think about what that is. That's a vacation. That's a solid emergency fund. That's a real investment in your future.
Okay, so let's dive into our first section here, the buy now brain. To really get why this keeps happening, we've got to look inside our own heads and talk about one very specific, very powerful little chemical.
Right, so you can think of the ADHD brain as basically being a dopamine-seeking missile. Now, dopamine, that's the feel-good chemical, right? It's what helps you focus and feel rewarded. But for a brain with ADHD, the baseline levels are just naturally lower. So your brain is constantly, desperately searching for a little spark, a little hit, just to feel normal. And in our world today, one of the fastest, easiest sparks to find is online shopping.
Now, here's what's so fascinating, and I bet this will click for you. The big dopamine rush, it doesn't really come from owning the thing. It comes from the hunt, the searching, the comparing prices, the anticipation, and that final moment you click buy. That's the peak. Doesn't that explain why you can be totally obsessed with a package, tracking it every hour until it arrives, and then it just sits in the box for 3 weeks? Yeah, the reward was already paid out.
I want you to really let this sink in because it's such a powerful way to reframe this whole thing. This is not you being bad with money. This isn't a moral failing. You're trying to regulate your own brain chemistry, and you're just using the tools that are available. And for a lot of us, the easiest tool is that one-click checkout button.
So that's what's going on inside your brain. But you know what? That's only half the story. Now, we need to talk about the frictionless money trap, because believe me, the entire modern economy is designed to exploit that exact impulse.
Just look at this number. Right now, in the US, the average APR on a credit card is around 24%. Let that sink in. That means if you put a $1,000 impulse purchase on your card and you don't pay it off right away, you are paying an extra $240 a year for the privilege of owning that thing. That is a crazy high price for a dopamine hit that probably wore off in an hour.
And then you've got the rise of all these buy now, pay later services. Klarna, Affirm, Afterpay. They are psychologically brilliant because they completely reframe the cost. Your brain doesn't register a big, scary $400 price tag. No, it sees 4 easy, totally manageable payments of $100. It just lowers the mental barrier to spending, making the purchase feel way less significant than it actually is.
And this is all part of a deliberate strategy called frictionless spending. Companies spend billions of dollars to make it as easy and thoughtless as possible to give them your money. One-click checkout, using your face to pay, all your info saved. These things are designed to remove any chance for you to pause and reflect. And for a brain that's already wired for impulsivity, removing friction is like cutting the brake lines on a car. There are no brakes.
Okay, so if the whole system is basically rigged against us, what do? How do we fight back? Well, we stop trying to rely on willpower because that doesn't work. Instead, we build a better system. We have to intentionally, consciously, build our own speed bumps to slow ourselves down.
And here are 3 of the most powerful speed bumps you can build starting today. First up, the 24-hour rule. This lets that dopamine high just wear off. Second, delete your saved cards. This forces you to pause. And third, make your important money invisible so you can't just spend it on a whim.
So let's look a little closer at that 24-hour rule. That dopamine spike, that feeling of I have to have this now, is by its very nature temporary. It's a flash in the pan. By forcing yourself to wait just one day, you give that chemical high a chance to fade away. And when you come back to that shopping cart 24 hours later, your rational brain, the one that has to pay rent, gets a chance to actually speak up. This one little habit can save the average person over $150 a month.
Okay, strategy number 2, you have to add friction back into the system. I'm serious. Go into your browser settings, go into your favorite shopping apps, and delete every single saved credit card you have. If you have to physically get up, find your wallet, and type in all 16 of those digits every single time you buy something, that tiny little bit of effort is often just enough of a pause for your brain to go, wait a second, do I really need this?
And this classic saying perfectly sums up our third and final strategy. Look, if the money you need for rent, for bills, for your savings, if it's all just sitting there in your main checking account, your brain sees it as fair game. It's available to spend. The solution is automation. On payday, set up an automatic transfer to move all that boring but important money into a separate savings account, one that you don't look at every day. If you don't see it, you are so much less likely to spend it. See, it's not about willpower, it's about good architecture.
So, here's the big takeaway. You don't have to suddenly become a finance person to be good with money. You just have to become an architect. You have to design a system that works with your brain's natural tendencies, not constantly fighting against them. You are in control here.
And please remember this. Your self-worth has absolutely nothing to do with your bank balance. Having an impulsive brain doesn't make you a failure. It just means you need to build better filters and smarter systems to protect yourself from a world that is designed to get you to act without thinking.
So I want to leave you with this question, and I really want you to share it in the comments below. Let's get a conversation going. What is the most ADHD thing you have ever bought on an impulse that you totally regretted later? I'll go first. Mine was a professional-grade drone. I was absolutely convinced it was going to launch my new filmmaking career. I think I used it exactly twice. Thanks for tuning in.